Good morning, everyone. The bells are ringing and General Lafayette has arrived.
General Lafayette, the selectmen on behalf of the citizens of Sterling, welcome your arrival at their village. The name of this town associates with it the recollection of another transatlantic hero who, like yourself, sir, felt a sympathy for our father's wrongs and whose sword was unsheathed for their redress. Lord Sterling, the gallant and the generous, now sleeps in dust. But the memory of America's benefactors will survive the decay of time. The multitudes that hail your march through this part of our country are not the assemblages of idle crowds seeking to gratify a morbid curiosity. But, sir, the men around you are independent possessors of their fields and the defenders of their homes. From hoary age to lisping childhood, our whole population are eager of contributing deserved honors to the companion of Washington, the benefactor of our country, and the friend of mankind.
Merci for your welcome today. I am grateful for my kind reception here. I rejoice in your prosperity, and I'm happy to be once more among you. The name of your place recalls the recollection of Lord Sterling. He was my intimate friend as well as companion in arms. I venerate his memory, and when at New York, I had the pleasure of calling upon his family. When the American Revolutionary War began, Lord Sterling was made a colonel in the New Jersey Colonial Militia. Not unlike myself, because he was wealthy and willing to spend his own money in support of the Patriot cause, he outfitted his unit, the 1st New Jersey Regiment, at his own expense. Later, at the Battle of Long Island, Lord Sterling led a brigade in General Sullivan's division. He held against repeated attacks by a superior British force and took heavy casualties. The British then made a wide flanking attack sweeping to the east, catching the Continental forces on their left side. Lord Sterling, though heavily outnumbered, led a counterattack, eventually dispersing his men before being overwhelmed. He himself was taken prisoner, but he had held the British forces long enough to allow the main body of General Washington's army to escape to defensive positions at Brooklyn Heights. Later, under the cover of a miraculous fog which enveloped the river, General Washington was able to ferry his remaining troops and equipment across back to Manhattan to New York City. It was because of Lord Sterling's actions at Long Island that he was called the bravest man in America. And he was praised by both Washington and the British for his bravery and audacity. The emotions of love and gratitude which I have been accustomed to feel on my entering the Commonwealth have ever mingled with a sense of religious reverence for my return to Massachusetts, cradle of American, and let me hope it will hereafter be said, of universal liberty. Since my last visit to this country, I am now most agreeably surprised at the great improvements made. To see such very fine companies of light infantry under the command of Captains Dana and Miriam, a company of militia under the command of Captain Holcomb, and a company of artillery under the captain of Captain Maynard, has given me a very particular pleasure. But above all, I shall always have the profoundest sense of the cordial welcome given me here in Sterling. And I am sincerely delighted with the manner of my reception by every kind of person. Monsieur le maire, merci encore de votre accueil.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. We welcome everybody. We thank you all for coming. Sterling was so fortunate to have a town in Massachusetts that received a wonderful visit from General Lafayette when he returned to the United States. And when Lafayette arrived, he was greeted by the Sterling Select Board Chair in 1824. The Select Board Chair was attorney Isaac Goodwin, also known as Jacob Shore. The greeting was, as we just heard, and we're going to have the militia greet, please. Thank you.
Firing party, preparing. About face again. All right, firing party, ready?
Thank you, thank you, thank you. That was absolutely marvelous. General Lafayette, could you please share some of your amazing stories with the people that have come to greet you when you first arrived here from France at the age of 19 years old?
Well, Madame, thank you for your introduction. As you said, I was quite young when I arrived in America in 1777. Before coming to America, I had been imbued with a sense of liberty and freedom based on my readings of the English writers of the Enlightenment, like John Locke, who spoke on this subject, and certainly the French writers like Voltaire and Rousseau, who talked about democracy and liberty and freedom for all men and all mankind. I was obsessed with the notion of liberty, and when I heard of the conflict that was brewing between Great Britain and her colonies, I yearned to learn more and more about the nature of this conflict, what was at stake, who was responsible, and what might be the outcome. I actually was given my first impression of this conflict by a member of the British royal family, His Royal Highness the Duke of Gloucester, who visited my caserne in the eastern city in France called Metz, where I was stationed as a young captain in the French army prior to my coming to the aid of the American independence movement. He was quite frank about this subject. He discussed the fact that Americans felt that they had the right and the ability to work to gain their independence from Great Britain, or at least more independence in the matters pertaining to their own states or colonies at the time and in their everyday lives. I found this a profoundly fresh and new perspective on how men would live together, how they would be governed, and how they would succeed and make a better life for themselves and their families. I could not let this subject go. I researched further. I met with the American representatives in Paris, your Monsieur Celestine, and of course your Dr. Franklin, who I will tell you was not all that encouraging to begin with. The American cause was not going well at the time. The British had responded ferociously, as you well know here in Massachusetts, but also in other places further south. I was not deterred from my determination, however, to come and to assist in this great goal of freedom and liberty on this continent as embodied by the United States of America. And so I came in 1777. I presented myself to your Continental Congress, who made me an honorary Major General to begin with. But within a few short months, because of the relationship I was able to forge with His Excellency George Washington, I was eventually given command of troops and proved myself on the battlefield here. And eventually I was given the responsibility for even pursuing the traitor Benedict Arnold in Virginia, where he had been sent as a British general after his treason against America. And so for that, I feel that I was able to succeed in my goal of becoming a military operative in this country. I was able to succeed in pursuing and helping to implement the cause of freedom and the eventual independence of this country at Yorktown, as decided by force of arms against Lord Cornwallis, who succeeded Benedict Arnold in Virginia at that time. And since then, I have thought of nothing else but establishing a similar form of liberty and freedom and democracy in my native France. I have worked ceaselessly since my return to see this objective, and we are still working on it now in 1824. Madam.
Just a few extra tidbits. This gentleman was responsible for starting the National Guard in the United States, which is, as it is known today, it is still in existence. Amazing, amazing things. He was very implemental in stopping slavery and the Indians. He felt the human rights. Well, he's a human rights champion for sure. And when he was in jail for 5 years, his wife actually decided to go into jail with him just to be close to him, as they were so deeply in love. We need to also say thank you to all of you for coming out today. We greatly appreciate it. The Sterling-Lancaster Cable and their volunteers, the Sons of the American Revolution Guardsmen, the Hubbardston Military Company, the Boxborough Military Company, everyone else that has come to assist and help. And we have any questions that anybody would like to offer up to Lafayette. If you'd like to take some pictures, we welcome that. You can come forward, get closer. And also, before we start to disperse, I'd like you all to join me in singing, believe it or not, Happy Birthday to General Lafayette, because he will actually be 267 years old in 3 days on the 6th of September. So, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Lafayette. Happy birthday to you. Thank you so much. Please come forward with any questions, or if you'd like to take a picture with any of our marvelous volunteers and people here. Peter, did you want to jump up and say a few things? Yeah, Friends of Lafayette.
Sure. Just I represent at this event the American Friends of Lafayette, and we're very pleased with how things have gone here. Lafayette spent the day September 3rd in Worcester County, and we have several more events going. If you want the details of them, you can look at Lafayette200.org. We'll be, after you have some time to visit with General Lafayette, we're going to be heading to West Boylston, and then Worcester, Leicester, Charlton, and finishing up in Sturbridge. So you can look at Lafayette200.org to find more information, including the rest of the schedule for today. Thank you.
That was Peter Riley. Peter and Evie have been very instrumental in putting everything together, and they are with the American Friends of Lafayette, and we appreciate and thank them for all of their hard work to make this happen. And without all of you here, it wouldn't have happened. So thank you all for coming out.